This guy here. There we go. Hey everyone, it's Kenji. I'm going to be making two different rice bowls today, egg and rice bowls. The first one is tamago gohan, sometimes called tamago kake gohan or TKG. You might see it abbreviated on social media these days. This is a dish that I grew up eating virtually, not every day, but at least once or twice a week. I lived in apartment 10J with my mom and my two sisters and my dad. My grandmother and my grandfather lived in apartment 9J. And so we kids would, like on weekends, go down to my grandmother's house and she would make us tamago gohan. So the way you make tamago gohan, very easy, hot rice. I took mine out of a rice cooker. If you don't have hot rice ready to go in the morning, get a cup of cold rice, put it in the microwave for a minute, and it'll come out steaming hot, and you're good. Rice, an egg that we're going to break onto it. A little pinch of MSG, which if you feel like avoiding, you can avoid, but some people feel that they have a sensitivity to it, and if you do, you can avoid it. Sometimes I feel like I have a sensitivity to it and I get little reactions, but I just use it anyway. A little pinch of salt and a little splash of soy sauce. So this is this is gluten-free soy sauce, but this is Japanese dark soy sauce, which is what your standard shoyu is going to be. You can use dark soy sauce. I actually typically for this dish will use a Japanese light soy sauce, which is called usukuchi. It generally comes in a taller bottle. Light soy sauce is called light soy sauce because it's lighter in color, but it's also typically stronger in flavor and a little bit saltier. If you have usukuchi soy sauce, light soy sauce, use that. What I would avoid is Chinese-style dark soy sauce. Chinese-style dark soy sauce is a completely different thing that is a lot sweeter, has a much darker color. It's mainly used for coloring. So if you're going to use only Chinese soy sauce, stick with Chinese light soy sauce. All right, so rice, egg, soy sauce, MSG, salt, that's it. A pair of chopsticks is the best tool for this, and we're just going to start to sort of stir it up. And just like you're making like a pasta dough, you make like a little well in the center, and then slowly incorporate the rest of your rice. And we're going for like a sort of porridgey, homogeneous texture. But the idea here is that, the egg is going to slightly cook. This is not going to pasteurize the egg, by the way. So if you're worried about eating raw eggs, this is not the dish for you because the egg is essentially still raw in there. It's not getting to temperatures or times sufficient for to destroy all the bacteria in there. So if you're worried, if you're the kind of person who maybe has a weakened immune system, or for whatever reason you choose not to eat raw eggs, avoid this dish. But what we're looking for is this kind of frothy texture. So you can see I'm kind of once everything's incorporated, I'm going to kind of whip it up a little bit. And so as those eggs cook ever so slightly, the proteins in them are going to start to set, and so they should hold this kind of frothy texture a little bit. The texture should almost be like a risotto, where it kind of holds its shape, but as you let it sit, it's going to flow like lava, like liquid hot magma, just like that, you see, and it'll slowly flow and settle itself down into the bowl like that. And that's the texture. Well, that's the texture I look for. Really good seasoning. Yeah. So the MSG is not super essential in this dish. MSG is a monosodium glutamate. When you have soy sauce, like soy sauce naturally has a good amount of glutamates in it. So soy sauce will add that umami effect on its own. The MSG is really just sort of an enhancer. If you want to season this up a bit, you can use shredded nori. You can use sliced scallions. At home, I typically use furikake. Furikake, I just get it out of a jar. I don't ever really. I mean, I have a recipe for making your own furikake in my book, The Wok, but I typically just buy it in the jar. I like the kind, the setofumi furikake, which has dried bonito. It has two different types of nori in it. It has sesame seeds. It has dehydrated eggs and a couple of other things in there, but a little sprinkle of that. And this is breakfast. If you want to be, if you want to be a little fancy about it, what you can do is once you have it in a bowl. Oh wait, I learned today from one of my other videos that I should be cracking my eggs actually on the edge of a bowl. It works better for me. What you can do is separate a yolk out, plop it in the middle, and just serve it like that. And so when you get it to the table, you get like a little bit of extra rich egg yolk action, which can be nice. It's it's one of my kids' favorite breakfasts. They request this all the time. They call it egg and rice and soy sauce because they don't speak Japanese, unfortunately, but you can call it whatever you want. It's good. All right, so for folks who don't want to eat raw eggs, the other way you can do a similar dish is to make some crispy fried eggs. Right? So for crispy fried eggs, we're going to start with a pan. These are going to be sort of the polar opposite from what, from like your French style sunny side up eggs, where, like there's a famous Marco Pierre White quote where he talks about how when you're frying an egg, the butter should be barely melted. When you crack the egg in there, it should make no noise. You shouldn't be able to hear it as it's cooking, and you want to cook it real gently until the whites are just set, but there's no color at all. And he makes some like really derisive comments about people who like their eggs browned and crispy. I think he's a jackass, but I think he's also wrong about this. You can cook your eggs however you want. Sometimes I like them soft like that and buttery. Sometimes I like them real crispy. So I'm using olive oil, just like a cooking olive oil. And you want to get it sort of nice and hot. Meanwhile, I'm going to crack my eggs into a bowl. I'll do 2 eggs. And I'll get my rice ready. All right, so I can smell that olive oil. I can see it starting to shimmer. I'm going to wait till it just barely starts to let off a tiny bit of smoke. Olive oil, that's going to be at around 400 degrees, maybe 425. All right, I see a few faint wisps of smoke here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt the pan away from me so the olive oil kind of pools up in the back there. Okay, and then I'm just going to slide my eggs in. And I'm going to keep that pan lightly tilted like this for the start of cooking. All right, and you can see immediately you want to see that bubbling and popping. And if you look at the edges here, we're already starting to get a little bit of crispiness going on. All right, and then at some point I'm going to let it go a little bit flatter. And if I start to see areas of the tops that, where I see sort of the raw whites, what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of that olive oil, spoon it on. You don't have to use olive oil, by the way. You can use whatever sort of high temperature friendly oil you want. Peanut oil works great. Sunflower oil works great if you want something with a bit of a more neutral flavor. All right, but that's all we're going to do. And at that point, we're going to call it done. We want those yolks to be completely liquid. All right, so I got crispy edges, completely set tops. We're going to go right on the bowl. I don't know what that took. Maybe, I think under a minute, right? You can look at the timestamps, I'm sure, and figure it out. Or maybe we'll write it down somewhere. All right, now I'm going to finish this off in a similar way. A little bit of soy sauce drizzle over the top. You could do something like fish sauce also. Fish sauce is great. Worcestershire sauce if you like that. Let's do a little bit of our fancy salt. Fleur de sel. A little crack of pepper on this guy. You could do furikake if you want. I'm just going to do a little bit of pepper today. And finally, let me get some scallions on there. We're going to slice our scallions using a back slice so that they stay nice and tight. So you see I'm planting the tip of my knife over here and pulling back through the scallion, getting as much sort of horizontal motion as possible. There's I did a knife skills video on this. We'll link to it somewhere on the screen or below. You'll be able to find it. All right. All right, so there we got two different egg rice bowls. One with a completely raw egg. This is tamago gohan, tamago kake gohan. And this guy here All right, let me break into it and do that thing where you see the yolk like oozing over stuff. Ready? Oh, I already feel how loose it is. There we go. So then we can mix up the crispy bits with the rice. You can get a little bit of that yolk in there. Mix it all together, a little bit of that soy sauce. Same basic ingredients. I think this is one of the reasons I love eggs, is because they're so versatile. You get the same basic ingredients, like slightly different cooking process or slightly different technique, and you get two really different end results, both texturally and flavor-wise. Both of them great. All right. Tamago kake gohan, crispy fried egg rice bowls. Guys, gals, non-binary pals. See you next time.